also stocking the variety of dates. And we know that dates is one of the most ancient and nutritious fruits widely consumed for their health benefits and also their cultural significance. So talking about dates, it's a topic that I think that marvels all of us. We want to know more about it. We don't have the so-called date trees, but we have such a variety that is being provided to us here in South Africa. And especially in Ramadan, we want to enjoy more of it. It's an absolute pleasure for us to welcome on our screens Brother Abdulgani Rahman, who is from Wonder Dates, and he's also a proud supplier of Checkers Foods Kawi Park. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to Urban Women.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah for having me.
Barakallah, absolute pleasure to have you on. I mean, when I'm speaking with you, the image that is coming is just this variety of dates. As we know that Wonder Dates is the only fully fledged date shop that is running throughout the year. Share with us a little about your history. How did it all begin?
Okay, so Wonder Dates is part of a group or another company called Amina's Wonder Spice. I think most people know that. So many years ago, I think it was around about 2001, when we wanted to give a gift to all our customers, be they Christian, Hindu, Portuguese, Muslim, and we decided to do that in the month of Ramadan. So we bought some dates and we gave everybody some dates. Some of the customers came back to us and said, "Look, wow, these dates are wonderful. Can you bring us some dates? Can you supply us some of the dates?" So we bought some, sold it to them, and that's when the idea of the business of dates came. And so the following year, we bought some extra, thinking we'll give to the customers, maybe sell some, give some to the masjid. And we were sold out before we could give to the masjid. So, we at that time, it was 3 tons. Then the following year was about 8 tons. And it just grew from there. And so eventually, when we built our factory, we decided to build a small date shop. That was in 2012. And we outgrew that date shop and then moved over to Peters Road, where we are now. And the shop is what it is now. Yeah.
Fantastic. I mean, that's a wonderful journey. I'm only thinking, how many tons now? Starting off from 3, subhanAllah. Now, there are so many different types of dates. And the big question is, where do they come from? Where are they grown?
Okay, so dates are obviously generally grown in the desert areas and where the weather is very hot and so on. So you would look at most of the northern Africa, Saudi Arabia, the Middle East. Dates are grown in Namibia, believe it or not, in South Africa. So either side of the Orange River. In California, you've got dates growing in Pakistan, in China, Iran, Iraq. So there's a variety of places that there are many countries that it grows in. And in all those countries, there are different varieties of dates that grow in Pacific countries, yeah.
Interesting. Well, thank you for sharing that. I had no idea, because I think, yes, we just think it's the desert, it's the Middle East, and it's limited to that. But wow, it's really spread all over. Share with us some of the variety of dates that there are, and also how do you stock them?
Okay, there's more than 600 varieties of dates. I know it shocks people when I tell them, but that's the reality. This is just Allah's qudrat. Allah shows it in variety, just like you find apples from Pink Lady, Fuji, Granny Smith, and so on. So there's hundreds of varieties of apples as well. So like that, dates, there's more than 600. We only stock about 32 of them. We do the main Medina Saudi varieties, which is Ajwa, Safawi, Mabroom, Khudri, Berni, Sukri. Those are the popular Medina dates. And then one of the most popular dates in South Africa is Meju. It's big. It looks aesthetically, it's a beautifully looking date, not necessarily the best tasting date. But so there are a large variety of dates. There's a date that we've got now from Tunisia, which is generally grown in the North African region, called Deglet Noor, which is on the branches. A very, very nice tasting date. So there are dates, a big variety of dates, and they come in different forms, shapes, sizes. The fiber is different. The the taste is different. The magnesium level is different. So there's just a massive variety. It's hard to even explain everything in one interview. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, I'm very visual. So when people speak, there's these images going through my mind, and I'm just trying to picture it from my limited knowledge, because I think until you see something, you cannot fully appreciate the spoken word. So remember, there's this variety. Share with us, especially now that Ramadan is coming, what are some of the most popular dates that you see that people actually consume or purchase?
I think in South Africa, and this is from my experience, being in the retail and wholesale business of dates, Meju, which is grown in South Africa and Namibia. And I know many
Mm-hmm.
people, they come up, and I might as well just add here that
Yep.
people talk about dates coming from Israel. So that
Mm.
variety is also grown in Israel. But in South Africa and Namibia, the medjool dates, there is more than enough. In fact, Namibia and South Africa exports medjool dates to Europe. So
Fantastic.
that is the most popular date, medjool.
Mm-hmm.
Then you would find the Medina dates being Ajwa. Ajwa is the most popular in terms of the Medina date. But then you find people that love a chewy date like Mabroom. You've got
Yeah.
a date like Safawi, which is softer than Mabroom. It's a black date, got a distinctive flavor. Khudri is of the popular ones. So the Medina dates, generally people have their choices in terms of the dates, but most people would go for Meju or Medina dates. And there are other varieties in between from South Africa and so on. Some people like a very hard date. Some people like a date that is soft, and those are the rutab dates which you find in the freezers and so on, which we'll explain later.
So I have a friend, she's Egyptian, and she loves the hard dates. And for me, it's like, why? Why? I'm the opposite, to be honest. I'm going to share my favorite, and I'm going to ask you, what is your personal favorite? Mine is sukri. I love the one that you keep in the freezer. Absolutely love it. He's so sweet. He's so divine. Listen, share with us, what are your favorite dates? What do you look forward to? What you must have when you're breaking your fast? Share with us, Brother Abdulgani, what is your personal favorite? Because, I mean, you are spoiled for choice.
Yeah, look, at the moment, we've got Ajwa, which is a Rutab Ajwa. That means that the moisture content is high and it's kept in the freezer. That day at the moment is nice. But I enjoy Safawi. Safawi is one of my favorite dates. I like the taste. I've always loved Safawi. And now and then Mabroom, which is a chewy date, but the taste is excellent. Yeah. So those
Oh,
are
that's
those are my favorite. Mm.
lovely. We all have our different taste buds, so to say. So there's no right, there's no wrong. As I said, my friend likes the hard one. As you mentioned, we are so different. Now, I'm glad to know Sukri actually comes from Medina, but tell us, why are the Medina dates in such demand?
Well, I think that of all the dates I've tasted around the world, the Medina dates are the best tasting dates. And I think this is because Rasulullah SAW has blessed the city of Medina and Ajwa as well. There's a lot of there's a hadith on Ajwa itself. So Medina dates are always going to be popular. It's, in my opinion, the best tasting dates around the world that you can find. Although, if I eat something from Iran, there's a date that they've got there called Mazafati, which is a lovely date. So it's something that, you have a variety in tasting, but I think Medina dates stands out above all the rest. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. You mentioned a date that we know, as you mentioned, the hadith. Elaborate, because of all the Medina dates, we know the Ajwa is known to be the most the popular and the most expensive one as well. If you want to just elaborate on that for the benefit of our listeners.
Okay, so Ajwa is it's expensive simply because of the demand and the supply. It's a simple economic, result of the demand. But it's also one that Rasulullah SAW has said, whoever has 7 Ajwa dates, then on that day, he will be protected from sihr or jadoo or black magic or whatever you want to call it. So that is what Rasulullah SAW said. So people sometimes misconstrue it and think that, the date can be given to a cancer patient or given to somebody that's sick or so on. Yes, obviously there's a blessing in the date in that it comes from Medina. But the hadith is clear, and that is that if somebody consumes 7 dates in the morning on an empty stomach, then for that particular day, you'll be protected from sihr, jadoo, or black magic. And then
Mashallah.
Ajwa itself, the seed of it, there was a group of people that came to Rasulullah SAW and said that, you know what, they've got a heart condition and how can they get a cure? So Rasulullah SAW directed them to a certain tribe and they administered the seed of the ajwa. So they grinded up the seed together with the dry ajwa and they administered the patient, if you like, this ajwa mixture. So that there is also a benefit of the ajwa. But look, by and large, it comes from Medina. It is blessed by Rasulullah. And
Sallallahu.
the taste of the date is also excellent. You understand? So it's got a lot of plus factors in that. Yeah. And
Definitely.
if you feel you need to be protected, obviously from black magic, jadoo, whatever, then there the hadith is there, and we should believe that that is true.
Yeah,
Mm.
there's our formula, there's our prescription, there's our protection. And I think what you're highlighting is that prevention is better than cure. So don't wait till something happens. Do as per the sunnah, inshallah, if you want to be saved. Let's talk about storage. Tell us, why are some dates on the shelves a normal temperature, whereas others need to be in the fridge in a cooler temperature?
Okay, so dates generally there are three stages on a tree. So if we look at a tree, a date palm, there would be about 12 to 14 branches on it. So if you
Hmm.
imagine a bunch of grapes, this is a massive bunch of grapes that comes out um, from the flower, and eventually there's a small bunch and then it grows bigger. But the first part or stage of this development, it looks like olives, it's green. Okay, if the date is yellowish, then it would be green. If the date is black, it would be a purple color. If you bite into it at that stage, it will have a texture of an apple inside. It will be white inside, and
Wow.
it would not be sweet. It might be like a tarty flavor, a little bit sweet, a little bit bitter, and so on. So that stage of the date is called halal or balag or halal. So that's the one
Mhm.
stage where the date is formed. It's got a white apple texture inside. If it's a light color date, it would be yellow. If it's a dark color date, it would be purple. Then
Mhm.
from there, it becomes rutab. So any date can be a rutab date. Rutab in ratib in Arabic means soft. So the date from the bottom softens up to the top. So you'll find sometimes in rutab, you'll find half the date is softened and half the date is crunchy and crispy on the top. So that's rutab. There, the moisture content is high and your sugar content is low. So that's rutab.
Mhm.
That definitely, if you want to store it, needs to be in a freezer. Okay,
Okay.
so compare that part of the date or that stage of the date to a yellow green peach or plum
Mm.
or prune or
Wow.
fresh prune.
Mhm.
Then when you leave it on the tree, when you leave the dates on the tree and it's bunched up, they normally bag it so that the ripe dates fall into this bag and it's left on the tree. The moisture content then decreases and the sugar content increases. So
Okay.
with rutab, the dates that are in the freezer, the yellow dates and those that are in the freezer, not necessarily sukri, but the rest of
Mm.
it that's yellow, that day, at that stage, the moisture content is high and the sugar content is low. The sugar has just come into the fruit with Allah's qudrat. When you leave it on
Alhamdulillah.
the tree, it dehydrates, okay, and it shrivels up and it forms these lines on the outside, prune-like, if I must call it that, like a dried prune. So that
Mhm.
day is called tamar. At that stage, it's called tamar. So you get halal, you got rutab, and then tamar. So at tamar, the moisture content is low and the sugar content is the highest. So if the
Interesting.
dates are dried enough where it's below 30% or 25% or 20%, that dates don't need to be refrigerated. That dates can be in your kitchen in a Tupperware or something. Nothing will happen to it. And if it's even drier, lower than 20%, you can keep it in a sack, ride on a camel for 2 years, and the dates will be fine. I'm just giving you,
SubhanAllah.
trying to tell
Yeah.
you that dates don't
It will
necessarily
last
need to be in the
in the
fridge.
fridge.
Yeah.
Well, that's
But
great.
just to tell the listeners, the the yardstick would be that if your moisture content of your date is high, in other words, the date is soft and juicy, then that needs to be refrigerated. If the date is dry, like mabroom or some of the other dry dates, you can then leave it in your kitchen cabinet, or you can leave it in the in your lounge or wherever.
I have a very important question because we see people eating dates very differently. Like, when you're breaking fast, there's the tub that's opened, it's passed around. I'm very finicky where I personally have to wash it because my mind is like, it's like a fruit, like anything else. So many hands it's been through. But help us to understand, do we need to wash it like any other fruit or just whack it as it is?
Look, most dates around the world are organic. And at some processing plants or factories, they would put it through washers, but that water is not necessarily as clean as we would mind to think, because it's in the desert. So, but look, there are dates that we would call raw dates. It's come from the trees and boxed directly, so there'll be a fine grit of desert sand on it. If it's from
Mm-hmm.
Medina, you might as well just eat the sand or the dust from it. Is fine. But what I'm saying is that it would be best to wash the dates. Okay, like any
Mm-hmm.
other fruit, don't wash
Mm-hmm.
it so vigorously that the date disintegrates and it's not even the shape of the date anymore. You just need to basically rinse the date out. That would be fine. I think in
Okay.
terms of eating dates, dates is heat to the body. It brings a lot of heat to the body. I must say it's an aphrodisiac as well. And besides many of the other benefits that there are, but you would want to eat this with something that would cool you down as well. So it would
Cucumber.
be ideal to eat it with yogurt,
Mm-hmm.
cucumber,
Mm-hmm.
watermelon, which is in season now for this Ramadan.
Right.
It would be excellent to pair your dates up with watermelon, or sandwich it in two cucumber slices after you've seeded it. So that would be
Yeah.
the ideal way to eat it. If you're eating with other people, then be mindful not to put the seed back into the same plate that you've got the dates. You understand? And there's a way that Rasulullah Sallam has taken his two fingers to take the seed out of it, so that when he drops the seed down, the top part of his fingers or his thumb and his finger doesn't take the date where the saliva has actually touched. So these are things that we should.
Wow.
It's sort of etiquette in just eating the dates, and also what to pair the dates up with when you eating dates. Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. That beautiful hadith, I think it came out during COVID time as well. And I'm thinking our deen is so beautiful. If only we could just follow the sunnah to show that, I have kalaba personally. So for me to hear that hadith was like, wow, look at that. Even our beloved Master Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was so particular about his saliva and not wanting people to mix it up in their foods. Brother Abdulgani, it's been an absolutely wonderful pleasure talking with you on this lovely Thursday. It is unfortunately we are out of time. It is 11:57. We've got to go for a quick break and then I've got to wrap up. But thank you so much for educating us in this very, very fascinating topic about dates. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah for having it.
Barakallah. And that was Brother Abdulgani Rahman from Amina's Wonder Dates. As many people will know, Amina's Wonder Spice. Remember, they actually are the proud suppliers of Checkers Foods Kawi Park as well. So Checkers Foods Kawi Park, proud sponsors of Urban Women. They're helping you to get ready for Ramadan. Quick break, and then it's time for me to wrap up.